The Whiskey Brothers podcast is intended for an adult listening audience. If you find yourself easily offended, I guarantee this will do it.
They don't want no problem. Nah.
From Houston, Texas, the Whiskey Brothers podcast starts now.
Welcome, everybody, to the Whiskey Brothers podcast. Look at us, episode 971. I think I've done all that correctly. We're your Whiskey Brothers. 3/4 of the gang is in the studio. I'm Slade Ham, your host as always. To my right, Sam Damaris. Across the table, Jerry Wayne Longmire.
Howdy, howdy.
Jerry Wayne Longmire of the Wrecking Yard. I can now say coming out Saturday.
Saturday.
Sorry. I keep confusing it with Thanksgiving.
I know, me too.
Probably will be the same amount of food at both.
Yes, I reckon.
The release of Jerry Wayne's special, The Wrecking Yard, only on YouTube. So go follow Jerry Wayne live on YouTube, and you'll be able to see it. It's quite the endeavor, I think.
I've seen bits and pieces, and I can tell you that it looks fucking fantastic.
Well, it's one thing, like the live performance was so much fun, and it was a great show, and it was this remarkable night, and caught lightning in a bottle and all that good stuff. It was an amazing time. But then to see Slade and BC and everybody
we put the stank on it.
It is.
Put your foot in it.
It's really.
Yeah.
It's like this piece of art that I worked on for a long time, and then they just polished it and made it. It's amazing, man. It's really.
That's because none of us were doing anything of our own.
It's one of those things where you look at it and you're like, wow, I do not look this good in real life.
No, man. I was like, God, people are gonna think I got money.
People are going to expect me to do it for the same price.
Yeah,
so
yeah. It was expensive.
Your price was $100,000. What's wrong with that?
That's what I heard.
And a year's worth of servitude at the production desk.
Story was sticking to, goddammit.
Here's a glass to the forthcoming Wrecking Yard on Saturday. Jerry Wayne live on YouTube. We'll probably pop some clips up on the Whiskey Brothers page. We're drinking, the remnants of that last bottle, and then cracked into the new bottle of Old Humble Distilling Company's Double Oak. Our new favorite whiskey.
So
I'm not kidding.
Really
Joe
good.
Breda, if you're watching, congratulations again. This is a spectacular bottle of whiskey. We'll be drinking more of it because I think if I keep talking about it, he'll keep giving us some. So
I'm here and there on Rye, and I have fallen in love with it.
It's spectacular.
I'm not necessarily not a Rye guy, but not a Rye guy.
And to Adam Taylor, all the way in the back, working all the stations tonight and keeping the Whiskey Brothers looking video badass.
So not with us tonight, of course, is our good friend Trey Tutson, because Trey Tutson
he's killing it.
has done something that I could never fucking do.
Oh, make the finals?
Yeah. I got bounced out of the semis.
I thought you were in the finals.
Nope, got bounced out of the semis twice. I missed the finals by I think 3/100ths of a point the first time I did it.
To the Charlie Brown guy?
Yeah, and he
While he was selling shirts.
The boy made the finals. So I sent him a message. I was like, you already did something I couldn't. I was like, I just need you to finish what you started. And he was like the good Lord intended. And I was like, there you go, motherfucker.
Yeah. He looks like he's having a wonderful experience up there. I've been following along with his Instagram stories. And
he's not.
Saw him went to a hockey game and all kinds of other shit. He's not. No. There's a lot of white people.
It's Seattle in November. He's not. I've done it twice.
No.
He's not having a great time.
Yeah, I am not like I am after November. Fuck everything north of Lufkin.
Yeah,
That's who I am. Yeah, and even kind of fuck Lufkin.
Yeah,
yes.
man. No, but he's crushing it.
I usually don't go north of I-10.
Yeah, it's and rightfully so. It's not even you versus the finalists at this point. It's you versus seasonal depression. And I think whoever makes it to Saturday night without killing themselves.
Yeah. No, it's an endurance trial. That contest is an endurance trial. It's not about who's funniest. It's about who didn't fucking collapse.
It's really interesting the way it's set up, though. I think it's a more fair representation of a comedy contest than I've witnessed
Totally.
before, because you got so many opportunities.
Cumulative score.
And if you move on, then there's no question that you were not or were supposed to move on because you had
the best
5
person that night.
opportunities.
Yeah.
It's in a perfect world, 5 different venues with 5 different panels of judges. I think gives you a fairer.
I mean, as fair as comedy can get.
Well, look, it's subjective. It's
Yeah.
going to be subjective. It's always going to be subjective. You're going to say something that pisses off at least one judge and at least one show at least one venue. But
I know
the problem is when you do some of these contests, they're judged by the same panel across the board. And if you haven't won one of those judges over, you're just sort of screwed for the remainder of the contest. And there's not a whole lot you can do. Oh, great. That guy's judging me again. We established that he gave me a 2 the first time out of a possible 10.
Yeah, I did one where I went through the whole contest, and it was different judges every time, right? And every week I won first place, got the cash prize, took home the money, and got to the finals, and like 2 of the judges didn't show up, and they just picked these 2 people out of the audience, and those 2 people hated my goddamn guts.
Here's the thing, though. They got like 5 judges. They throw out your highest and they throw out your lowest. So if you pay the guy off and he's like, yeah, straight 10s across the board, doesn't matter.
If I pay a guy off and he's that goddamn dumb, I'm whipping his ass after the contest.
Even if he's like, okay,
you could throw 2 9s and an 8 in there, you dick.
But even if he goes like 9.8, his score is gone. And if the other girl's like, yeah, he fucked me and never called me back, I'm giving him a 1. Her score is gone. They try to make that thing as fair as they possibly can.
Well,
Are you saying you fucked more than one judge?
No.
But he's not saying he didn't.
I was black in the wrong places, I think.
Seattle?
Yeah.
Fair.
No. You get on the outskirts, you get into the burbs, and you do some of those casinos out there, and is the casino crowd are like, what the hell is this colored fella talking about? Black people don't skydive.
Yeah, that part of Washington gets Idaho real quick.
Yeah.
The BLM, you mean the Bureau of Land Management? We almost won.
Seattle is to Washington State what Austin is to Texas.
Uh-huh.
It is. Oh wow! Everybody here is so fucking liberal.
I know.
Hey,
My best friend
I think
Bart
I want to
lives
go
in
out.
Spokane.
Bro, you cross them mountains and it's straight up fuck them.
It's so weird to see Bart in an element where he's like the least.
Well, he's so Bart's a we all know Bart, and Bart's a prepper, to say the least. It's
Survivalist.
He's one of those guys that when the end times come, I don't know. It's gonna come down to like me and him. I've already thought this through a little bit. Like there's gonna be a lot of people are gonna get weeded out right at the beginning of the end times. They're not gonna make it at all. And so once you get to like that 20% that's survived, I think I'm gonna be in the 20%. And I know he's gonna be in the 20% because he's got enough spam or whatever to get him through.
Rice.
Yeah, rice. The handfuls of dry rice, or he leaves it in his mouth until it gets wet enough to swallow. I don't know how survivalists do it. But I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to beat him. Because that's what it's coming down to. We're going to.
Here's the thing. I think Bart is going to be.
Spot for fisting porn. I don't know if that can play to your advantage.
Okay, hang on.
This sounds like Snatch, where it's
I
like
have
he loves to
magazines.
gamble.
Okay, hang on.
Magazines. Can I have a can of soup, please?
You're giving me, and you don't know where I had to go to get these magazines because those sound difficult to.
And by the way, Jerry, that spot ain't soft. He's got a hard spot for fisting porn.
Yeah, can I tell you a quick funny story about Bart? So when Bart got ready to move from Houston to Seattle, he lived in an apartment off Walker and Scott, like you know the hood. You know? And I was just like, it was so funny because he got one of those pod things. That
I
you
like
hook
how
to the
you're
back of the truck.
describing here.
Yeah. He's got one of those pod things that you hook to the back of your truck, and I brought my truck to help him load it up. And all day we're loading stuff in it, which the stuff is guns, pornography, a few kitchen items, and a lot of workout shit, and more guns and more ammunition.
Wait, that Venn diagram overlaps.
And we bolted this thing up right with my brand new socket set, right, like $200 socket set. And we left to go drop it off, and I left my socket set on the ground in that parking lot over off Walker's, right? And I'm like, fuck, that's gone.
No, I wouldn't.
We come back 2 hours later, that somebody's still sitting there. I was
No
like,
one
boy, you
touched
can't load that
anything.
many guns in the truck. But I kept telling Bart, I was like, if we get pulled over, they're just shooting us on sight, right?
Oh, you look like you're driving downtown in a fertilizer truck.
Yeah, and one of the things that he couldn't fit in there, so a lot of stuff he couldn't fit in there, he was just throwing in the back of my truck.
The butt plugs.
Hey, can you get rid of this? Can you do something for it? Whatever. And he gave me a bunch of gun parts and crap like that and a bunch of workout stuff. And then he throws this milk crate in the back of my truck. I didn't look at it. The next day I'm at work, and I pulled that milk crate out, and it's full of magazines that I didn't know existed, showing things that I didn't know existed.
Elaborate.
No.
It's
Don't.
stuff that made fisting look pretty lame. There was costumes of different world wars. There was a lot of things going on in these magazines, and I don't think they were the kind of magazines you could just. And there was also
role playing.
There was
She-male nuns butt fucking the Pope.
There was that would have been really light, but there was all that. So what was really funny is I had this
like a
dude,
spritzer.
I had this dude that worked for me that was about just a straight up a country boy from Beaumont, Texas. Actually, he's from Woodville.
I know exactly.
He's
where
river
you are.
people,
A little further
right?
up. Yeah.
Trump train. Woo, you know this guy. And I didn't want anybody to find that in my truck at work, so I stuck it in the back of his truck in his toolbox. About 3 weeks later, he come into work one morning. He goes, "Bro, I think somebody's fucking with me." I go, "Why?" He goes, "Man, I opened my toolbox. It's full of all kind of crazy porn like you've never seen."
Oh, I seen it.
Like,
Stuff I've
I
only
guarantee you, Woodville hadn't seen it.
the stuff I've only wished for. Stuff I didn't like. A fairy must have brought it in the night. Stuff I didn't think they could make in a million years.
I wished I could get this when I was 17.
Oh my God! So yeah,
Here's the thing. When he tells you about it, you're like, oh, you know what? This is a stand-up guy. If you would have left it in there and he just never talked about it, be like, oh, you a dirty motherfucker.
He's like, I said, "What'd you do?" He's real religious. He said, "Oh, I took that darn stuff right to the burn pile."
Oh
Are
my
you kidding me? I couldn't
God.
have that.
that's Woodville religious.
Aggravating mess. Dog it.
You know
I had
what my
to burn
favorite part about that story
He
was?
believes it's calling in a spirit.
Yeah.
You know what my favorite part about the story was? You were like, if we get pulled over, they're just going to shoot us. I was like, oh, you think the cops shoot white guys?
Oh, they do. They
Oh,
do.
yeah,
If
yeah,
you have
yeah.
enough ammunition, they do. Yeah.
Yeah, and in that part of Texas, there aren't enough black people for it to count. They got to do white people.
Somebody got to get this bullet, right?
Yeah, these cops,
Yeah, yeah.
cops aren't going to not
That was
shoot
when
people.
Acevedo was chief. He'd have shot us. Yeah.
Yeah, well, those guys, but especially in that part of East Texas, those kids didn't grow up and fail at football and not make the pros to not shoot somebody.
I got this bad ACL. Somebody's getting shot today.
Absolute. Goddamn meniscus. You know how that, come on.
Meniscus sounds like a swear word. I like it.
Sounds Greek.
You meniscus son of a bitch.
Probably was. Probably he got named that way. So, speaking of fucking militant white guys with guns, heads are fucking rolling from January 6th, and I wake up every day looking at the stories, laughing my fucking dick off.
Dude, they went and got Roger Stone today, man. They're going after all of them.
702 people have been arrested so far.
Alex
and they're still
Jones.
counting.
They went and got Alex Jones for his part in it.
Well,
and I don't even know what his part
I
was.
don't even know what we're talking about, but they deserve to get him. What happened January 6th?
The Capitol insurrection.
They ran the cap.
That shit.
But they've reopened the investigation, and they've added all these new parties lists. So they went and got Roger Stone and Alex Jones, and
Oh, they just
they're
make
just going
filmmakers.
to, you're white and you say shit like Trump train, you're going to jail.
Boy, they treat January 6th like Astroworld. We suing the cameramen and the security guards.
Were you
and
injured at the United States Capitol building on January 6th? I'm Jim Adler, the Texas Hammer.
Look at me. I'm on a truck.
Oh, they might arrest him too. I don't know. That
I'm on the
name's
Capitol
kind of.
building.
That's
So in Indiana, the first person ever sentenced was a girl named Anna something.
Archist.
Anna Archist.
And perfect blue buildings. No.
So
Okay.
she gets charged.
We have
I won't overlook a
references.
Counting Crows reference, but also I'll make you pour me more whiskey for having done it.
She gets charged with the fucking like criminal trespassing and all this, whatever. Before her sentencing, she gets to say her words, and she's in the courtroom crying. And if I could go back, I would never do it. And I apologize for all the senseless violence and this, that, and the other. But whatever she says works. It sways the judge. He gives her just probation. She doesn't do any jail time.
Okay.
The next night, this bitch goes on Fox News and was like, this is all bullshit. It's being blown out of proportion. There wasn't any violence. It was all peaceful and this, that, and the other from where I was sitting. And I think that we were being treated really unfairly, blah, blah, blah.
Girl, sometimes you got to take your free pizza and go the fuck
Yeah,
home.
take the
Hey.
W and go to the house.
Double
dummy.
jeopardy. She's okay. This guy has 7 more cases to hear. The next guy comes in, gets charged with the exact same charges as her. Prosecution says, we want him to go to jail for 14 days. The judge goes, 60 days. Best of luck to you, sir. The last thing he said in the courtroom was, "Best of luck to you, sir."
Carrying a grudge.
This is the same judge who then got the QAnon shaman with the buffalo horns. 41 months, not years. I thought it was years. I was getting happy when I said that on Spoiler Room yesterday.
Yeah, 41 years seemed excessive.
They gave one of the other dudes, the guy who was taking all the bong hits and everything and threatening congressmen, he gave him 19 months.
But he also there was an MMA fighter who was part of the ones that was beating up the cop or whatever. He was like, "Oh, assaulting an officer. Cool." They asked for something. I think they asked for like 20 months on him. He was like, 41 months. This bitch in her mouth. He's got 4 more guys to try. And her mouth is getting these dudes fucked up.
I can barely get them to give me that extra scoop of orange chicken at a Panda Express.
She's that person that gets everybody into class detention because she can't shut the fuck up.
Oh, yeah,
you know what
that's
I mean?
her. But that judge just handing out extra shit to this prosecution. They didn't even ask for it.
Yeah.
She's a kid when the bell rings and everybody's packed up and leaving, tells the teacher, "You forgot to give us homework."
Yeah. Oh.
He's that bitch.
Yeah, you can't do that, man. If you get some bonus shit, your job is to shut up and disappear for a minute. Mm-hmm. You need to duck under a rock and sit there until the storm blows over.
Didn't
Catch
you
a
learn
W,
anything?
go home.
Yeah, you're dressed in aluminum foil and the lightning did not strike you.
Lucky fucking you. Get
Didn't
the
you
hell
learn
home.
anything from OJ? OJ walked, wouldn't shut the fuck up. They found something to give him prison time for. And
Well, they didn't find something. He broke into a place and committed robbery.
But the thing is,
it wasn't like they just like digging around like, what did OJ not do today? You know?
Yeah.
he did. But the sentence they gave him
they gave him
was
a nasty
like
sentence.
5 times more than what that crime carried.
I have
because you just wouldn't shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I have absolutely no sympathy for him.
And
Like,
here's
you're a
the thing.
dummy.
Here's
You're a
the
dummy.
thing. Anna, whatever your name is, he's rich. And they got him because he wouldn't shut the fuck up. You ain't nobody.
Yeah, she thought she was white though. She thought she had that going for her.
Ooh.
Yeah, that whole thing's a mess. I don't know how you determine.
Oh, I just read it for the funnies, kind of like that. And then
I'm
off
loving just watching it go down because here's the thing. When you said, "Oh, she thought she was white," she had that going for her. They all did, because you can watch every piece of that shit and be like, "Oh, you've never done anything like this before." L.A. riots, Ferguson, after George Floyd, fucking overseas, any kind of coup or. When do you not see a bandana on the face and sunglasses and what?
I
These
agree.
motherfuckers would cheese it. My name is Jim Silver Bob. I live in Grayville, Indiana, and fuck Nancy Pelosi.
That was definitely some first riot stuff. I don't know if there's a. I mean, you can't. You gotta go to a riot training course or something, and at least do the weekender. You know what I mean? Get your riot.
First world rioting, guys.
You gotta get your riot license. You can't. You go learn on a starter riot. You don't just
done one.
You don't just jump right on the freeway on your first riot. That's an insane.
You have this. Google riot, and you're going to see bandanas, sunglasses, and baseball caps. Hey, that's the uniform.
It's like if there was a baseball team called the Rioters, it would have a bandana and some sunglasses, and you would only be able to see the eyebrows. That's the only identifying.
The problem is they didn't think they were rioting. They think rioting is what everybody else protesting does. They thought Colin Kaepernick was rioting.
Right.
Yeah.
They think they're protesting.
And then Blue Lives Matter. Let's beat the fuck out of these Capitol Police.
But you gotta.
Well, it's not really that blue of a life. You know?
You gotta have a training course. You gotta open up some sort.
Should we open it? We're in Texas. There's plenty
some
of
sort
room
of
for us
weekend
to,
or rioting course. Here, just rioting 101. I don't know. They're not teaching it at U of H downtown or something.
We'll just put Bart in a bomb suit and let him beat the shit out of white people.
There
Sounds
you go.
Fun to
Real
me.
simple.
Fucking listen to a Zach De La Rocha album. You know what I mean? And just whatever that music makes you think about putting on is what you should wear.
That's fair. Yeah, you should dress like a Banksy painting. There's rioting
He's laid
requires
it right out for you.
Yeah. There's just that's some weak ass riot sauce. That's all I'm saying.
You're like, there's a baseball team for the Rioters. You should dress like their mascot. Their mascot would probably be wearing Raiders gear like every other Rioter.
I'm probably just fat, but riot sauce sounds amazing.
Riot sauce, right? Doesn't it sound like something Guy Fieri would put on a burger?
I definitely want some riot sauce.
That sounds like
now.
something Guy Fieri would 100%.
But I want a black person to make it because
right.
Well,
I want it to taste good.
then some white person has to go free for some shit they did, and you'll get it.
Definitely want some Riot sauce. Don't want it made by a white person.
Yeah. Oh, this tastes like.
I've had Mexican food at the Pentecostal church. It's not everything should be attempted. There's some nobility in saying no, that's not for me.
I made nachos.
This tastes like tiki torches.
Jesus Christ.
All right, I'm gonna do my shot. Somebody else change the subject.
All right. Yo, you want to talk about your thing, the Lakers? Yeah.
Okay. So
All right.
yeah.
Subject changed. I changed it to one I don't know nothing about though.
LeBron James finally
drink my
showed
shot while y'all
his bitch colors last night.
Wait, what did he do? Did he change teams again?
No, not that. There's a play with the Pistons, and there's a guy named Jose Stewart. Free throw goes up.
Who's LeBron playing for now? The Lakers?
The Lakers, yeah.
All right.
So he goes to box the guy out like he's supposed to on a free throw. And the guy jumped over his back trying to get like the rebound, whatever. Play's dead. LeBron, boom, goes backwards. Elbows this dude here. And you know how face wounds get.
Yep.
He is pouring blood, right? He's mad about the fucking elbow. He's like, yeah, fuck you, Bron, whatever. And Bron is right there in his face, and people are holding him back, and people are holding Bron back. And then he reaches up and does this. And when he sees his own blood, it is, you made the Hulk angry.
That's a trigger, man.
Dude,
Seeing your
he
blood.
is running at this dude. His entire team is trying to get him. And Bron at first is just barking. And then LeBron just starts stepping back and letting every Laker and every official.
Yeah, because
dude.
Bugs Bunny and Marvin the Martian aren't there.
There's like 6 guys holding this motherfucker. And he is just swimming through them. And they finally get him. And he pulls a Slade hand like, all right, man, I'm chill. They're walking towards the tunnel, other side of the court. He shakes him off, takes off running. There's 2 security guys, bowls right through him. 2 more, bowls through them, puts one of them on his ass.
Like American Gladiators, remember they used to have to run through the wall?
No, I love that.
That was the best.
This little old white referee, as he's running past him, he catches his left arm, and then a big black dude just kind of grabs him there, and they stop him. And LeBron's under the opposite goalpost.
Luckily, there was a big black dude at the basketball game.
Now, he's an old guy in a suit, though.
How fortunate.
What were the odds?
Good thing it wasn't a curling match.
LeBron is under the opposite goalpost, like doing this. Like he wants no part of this whatsoever. They finally stop him. Like the entire arena is on this guy. His name is Isaiah Stewart, and he's been thrown out of the game. Fine, blah, blah. Cool. They're rushing him into the tunnel. The whole time he's getting pushed to the tunnel. Hey, fuck you. And then they get him to the tunnel, and he turns around and he's walking in on his own. Second he gets there and he's free of them, takes off running.
Man.
He's trying to go through the back so he can come out the backside of the Lakers bench, and he's still gonna kill this motherfucker. And then you see the cops start running into the tunnel behind the Lakers bench, and they were just like, somebody's got to stop the juggernaut. LeBron was going to die last night.
When you said he pulled a Slade ham, I thought you were talking about LeBron. I was like, what did he walk through somebody's legs and disappear?
He left without saying goodnight.
Oh, it's more than that. It's fucking disappearance. Like,
No, Slade's king of the. I'm cool. Kill that motherfucker.
yeah, that's fair.
I
But I was looking at this motherfucker one night and talking to a dude, and we were blocking the exit, and all of a sudden, Slade was gone, and I look outside, and he's waving at me, walking off the porch.
You got to know how to be where you want to be without people stopping you from being where you want to be. That's important. And this Isaiah son of a bitch figured it out too. All you got to do is convince people that they get what they want. Everybody wants something. Everybody wants something. In those situations, most people want de-escalation. So if you can just feign de-escalation for the smallest of moments, you can get what you want, even if what you want's LeBron. I don't care what you – come on.
Oh, I'm a fan of feigning de-escalation.
Yeah, that's
LeBron was about to get fucking worked.
That's the magic. So what happened? They finally stopped him? Like 8 people dove on top of him?
The cops came through, and I think when he saw, I was like, oh, okay.
Did they shoot him?
I am black. They're police. I should probably chill the fuck out.
Surprised they didn't just come in with guns drawn,
Right.
popping around.
That reminds me of American Gladiator. Do you know you can watch it on Hulu right now? I went back and watched like the old
What they call the
episodes.
gauntlet?
Oh, really?
Yeah, the original episodes with assault. And remember when they had to run around in those big ass balls and land in, dude, it was 80s technology.
Oh, yeah.
trying to do modern video game stuff, and it's one of the most beautiful things you've ever seen. It holds up poorly, and you have to watch it.
The Gladiators were amazing because they were all the guys that couldn't make it in the NFL
Oh,
or fucking
yeah.
wrestling.
I remember Nitro. Nitro
So,
was the
Nitro, Gemini,
I remember
Zap.
Gemini.
Zap was the big muscular
Zap,
blonde chick.
Blaze.
Blaze
There was Zap, Blaze,
was a black lady with long braids.
Ice was
Yeah.
the Nordic chick. There, man, we'd have Nitro. Did we mention Nitro?
Yeah,
When he
Nitro's
said
the first
Sap,
one.
I thought he said Sap, and I was just trying to picture Bob Sapp as a gladiator.
Oh, no,
and how
no,
much
no, no.
fun
I was
that
trying to
would
picture
be.
Warren Sapp when you said it.
I was just watching Bob Sapp yank somebody's life out of him with a padded glove.
And thanks for tuning in to another 3-minute episode of the American Gladiators.
You hurt me.
Just a field of dead bodies and going, who's next?
Oh shit!
Yeah, that was the best. Yeah, you should go back
It
and
was
I
rewatch
used
fun.
it.
to love that shit.
So I remember the jousts.
No, so you
I
had
used to watch
Joust.
that.
Gauntlet?
And Glow. Remember Glow? Gorgeous lady.
Gorgeous Ladies Wrestling, yeah.
Yes, but the I feel like Glow snapped up the good women and the bad ones went to American
Yeah,
Glad.
yeah.
This was the lowest, because dude, you can see it's kind of beautiful because you get to see not just what the events were like when we didn't have any technology whatsoever, but also what the production effects were like when we had no technology, and the crowd full of people holding up the old school WWE signs. Like,
that they were given when
I'm
they
gonna go
showed
back.
the free
Yes.
ticket.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
Nitro.
go back and check it out.
Bro,
'cause that
they do.
You
they
said it's
do-
on Hulu?
I think it's on Hulu because it's on something that it's either Hulu or Amazon. I think it's Hulu because I just went back and rewatched one or two of these. They had the wall that you had to
yeah.
climb.
What was the tennis ball cannon game?
Assault?
That was so
and you
much
had
fun.
to. That was the most because you were on the grid.
That was the most piss poor tennis ball gun that's ever been designed.
But also, so you had.
But they were nailing them.
You had
Had a
different.
curve.
They were, of course, it absolutely like a weird dick. Just
When
like
they actually hit them, you were like, "Oh, that was a badass shot."
but they would adjust. So they had that cannon
Nitro
up
was
there.
good with that motherfucker, though.
And then you had to go. You started out way in the back. You had the rocket launcher, and then you had another
The last
rocket
one you had to
launcher.
throw, it was like a Nerf football. You had to
Those
throw
are the
by
only
hand.
ones we remember. The one you had to throw by hand, and the one
the
that was a
rocket
rocket launcher, and whatever was in between, I don't remember. But there were things in between that I'm assuming were like a slingshot.
There were only 3 of them.
I don't remember.
I like the game they played where you had the big padded stick.
Joust.
And you had
Joust.
to stand on the board
Joust.
and just whoop
The
shit
pugil
out of each
stick.
other.
The-
I did that at Renaissance Festival one year, and nobody counted on my heaviness being a good center of gravity. And I was just whipping ass. I mean, these
Next.
muscular dudes were hopping up there, and I was just,
What's the
Get
plan
down.
against you in Joust? I don't have
as long
one.
as my balance is good.
I
I'm
literally
okay.
nothing. Throw cheesecake into the mats. That's my attack. That's all I'm bringing to the
Got a
table.
important chance of Skittles or Reese's Cups.
Oh,
There you go.
I'm buying him shots, a lot of them, before he's like,
throw that
I'll
balance off.
get him drunk and I'll fucking win this thing.
yeah. Evan Williams is my strategy.
Yes, sir. That's how we get out of this.
That's all I got. I'll
Lord's
lure you
nectar.
over with a shot and hope you fall off after the
Look
third
at
one.
here. Look at here.
Lawrence Taylor, he I think he wrote a book about it or whatever. They were supposed to play the Dallas Cowboys, I think in the Super Bowl or some big game or whatever. Lawrence Taylor found out where the Cowboys were staying before the big game, and the motherfucker just rounded up a bunch of hookers and gave them drugs and shit and just sent them to the Cowboys hotel room
They coulda
and
said
got them
no.
fucked up and got them fucked up and got
That's
them
fair.
pussy. And then the Giants went on the field and beat the dog snot out of the Cowboys the next morning.
I bet the Dallas Cowboys hotel had bodyguards after that.
Right.
Security. It's like John Belushi. John Belushi, they couldn't insure him to be on a movie unless he had a full security staff to keep him locked in the house.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't. Like, one of my favorite Westerns is a movie called Going South, and it has John Belushi, Christopher Lloyd, Danny DeVito, and
Damn.
Jack Nicholson. And they filmed it in New Mexico in the 70s, and it's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my life. But it took them nearly 2 years to film the damn movie because John Belushi and Christopher Lloyd
happens.
and Danny DeVito and Jack Nicholson kept running off to Mexico.
It's
And
hard
they
not
had
to.
to hire bounty hunters and shit to go find them and pull them out of brothels. And
So the Rolling Stones did a video, like it was in the 90s when they were doing like a big comeback or whatever, and they were in New York, and they did this like Attack of the 50-Foot Woman thing, and it was all these really hot chicks, but they were all really big, like stomping through New York like Godzilla, and it was all the Calvin Klein models, like Kate Moss was one of them, right? And so they had the idea for this video, and so they ended up calling up Calvin Klein. They were like, look, we need these models to come in, like, because you guys, that's back when print models were still a big thing. So all the girls on the Calvin Klein roster, that was like the Victoria's Secret Angels before Victoria's Secret was big. It was Calvin Klein. So Calvin Klein goes, yeah, we can do it, but here's the stipulations. And they had to have security around them at all time. They were not allowed to be on set at the same time as the Stones and this, that, and the other. Because Calvin Klein was like, yo, we depend on their bodies, and you guys have a history of knocking up hot chicks. And so Calvin
Richards
Klein
is going to be nowhere near anybody.
Calvin Klein was like, you are not allowed to be in the same room as the Rolling Stones.
I really wish, though, that Mick Jagger would have looked at him and been like, I like my women with boobs. Sorry.
Right?
My only claim to fame in that regard, it might have been 2000.
Jerry Hall was stacked.
Might have been 2013, somewhere in there. I was at the House of Blues. Candlebox was playing. We're hanging out, and they're on stage. I'm sort of backstage, and the security guard comes. I'm the only person back there, and he just comes up and goes, "Hey, there's some people that want to meet the band." And I go, I just came out here to pee, but sure, whatever. And it was Johnny Damon and whoever the Red Sox. There were a handful of Red Sox. They were big fans of the band. And we let them in, and they're hanging out. We go across the street to Dirt Bar. I proceeded to buy shots for these guys all fucking night long. And the next day, the Astros beat them 7-2. And it was you know what? It was a shitty season, but they got one extra win because I got that fucking team hammered.
Yeah, bruh. Yes. Do the Lord's work.
Absolutely. I know
Fuck
where you
you.
got to be tomorrow, dropping fly balls in the outfield.
I was hanging out with
I'll fit to know your ass.
what was the older brother in Pantera, the one that used to come to all the comedy shows.
Vinny.
in
Well,
Dallas?
Vinny and Daryl both.
I was hanging out. Yeah, it was after Daryl had died.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
I
Vinny's the
was-
older one, though.
Me and Cowboy Bill was hanging out with Vinny, and the same night he got his DWI that lost him his license for a long time.
Oh, shit. Wow.
I remember thinking that whole night, like, this is really getting further and further. We're just getting drunker and drunker.
That's
Something's got to give. The next day, all over the news. I was like, ooh.
the amount of nights that
glad
we've
it was
been
you and not
fucked
me.
up
You got
with.
money.
Yeah.
I went to this Jägermeister tour and with Jay Towers, and he got us backstage passes, whatever. Hell yeah, played. And that day was opening day of football season, so it was the Cowboys home opener, right? And they do their show. Vinny has his bus there. He sets up a Dallas Cowboys tent, and he's got a big screen, and he wants to watch the game and this, that, the other. And I just wanted to meet Vinny, right? And they were like, yo, man, do not fuck with Vinny when the Cowboys are on. Like, they're like, that's just a really bad idea. And me and Jay were pre-gaming at his house because the show's at the Woodlands. Remember, Jay lived way the fuck up north. We were pre-gaming at his house. And I bought a handle of Jim Beam. We only had a few shots of it, and then we left. And Vinny comes out because they have a keg back there for the artists. And he was like, this is bullshit. It's just beer. He's like, I need something harder and this, that, and the other. So the same guy who was working for Vinny who told me don't interrupt him while he's got the Cowboys, I said, if you can get me re-entry, I can get that man a handle of Jim Beam in the next 20 minutes. And he goes, here's my pass. Do what you got to do. I go up to Jay and I go, we got to run back to the house. And we fly back. I come back with a handle of fucking Jim Beam, come in the back gate. Like, it's not even a gate. He just, like, unhitches some shit. Yep. And we're parked back there where the buses are and everything. And I come walking in with a handle of Jim Beam. And the guy goes, oh, cool, he's going to love it, blah, blah, blah. Out of my way, bitch. He's sitting in a lawn chair watching the Cowboys. I just come sit right next to him. And I go, hey, man, nice to meet you. And he just goes, oh, shit, thank fucking God. Well, and I sat there, and I watched the Cowboys home opener sitting on the right hand of Vinnie Paul. And it was awesome. And I didn't talk. I just was happy to be there. And he was funny, and he cracked me up. And then in the fourth quarter, in the last like 20 seconds, they fucking lose to the Redskins. And Vinny is pissed. And as much as I love Vinnie Paul, I wanted to jack off. just watching a tent full of Cowboys fans cry. I was just like, I can't say anything. I'm gonna get the shit kicked out
I
of me.
wondered where this was going.
Because I hate the fucking
I was
Cowboys.
like, you don't just like seeing angry chubby men?
No,
That bothers me some.
No. That was the year Donovan McNabb went to the Redskins, and he throws a Hail Mary touchdown in the
Did he play
game.
for the Eagles?
He did for the most of his career.
It's,
And
I was
he-
like having a
Weird,
Vinnie.
I know that. I don't know anything about sports.
I'm impressed. Having a Vinnie Paul story is not worth having watched the Cowboys unless it ends that way. That's the most. You M. Night Shyamalan your own story.
He got pissed off, and he just used, well, fucking, blah, blah, blah. Hey, man, nice to meet you, this, that, and the other. And he walks into the fucking bus, and he slams the door behind him, whatever. And I look over, there's still half a handle of Jim Beam. And I just kind of grabbed it and walked off, and I was like, hey, Jay, we just got our whiskey into the show. And so now we're just running around with cups, filling up our own shit. I think I want to say Korn into that show or whatever. We're just like watching Korn pouring our own whiskey. And I'm like, so I got to meet Vinnie Paul. I got to watch the Cowboys lose with a bunch of Cowboys fans.
And all you had to do was watch Korn in exchange?
Free liquor. And
But now I'm not paying their prices, and I'm walking out of here drunker than anybody in this fucking building.
Well, when the night, so he came out to Cowboy Bill's show. I was featuring Cowboy Bill. And of course, Cowboy Bill was married and was going to go home after that. And we were all drinking and stuff. And
Did his teeth open?
Yeah, they owned a strip club called the Clubhouse.
The Clubhouse,
Yep.
of course.
And
I still keep an old piece of memorabilia. Is an old card for the Clubhouse that Vinny gave me. Never had to use it or whatever, but it's
well,
yeah.
me and him got talking about it because that repo lot behind it, that was the repo company I worked for a long time, repoing cars. And so we started swapping stories. He was telling us about all crazy stories of repo
y'all were
drivers
sharing a
flying
campus.
down the road with, cops and shit behind them and stuff. And we were swapping stories. He's like, well, come over to Clubhouse. Like, okay, cool. So this is like a weird night, right? So I go into Clubhouse for free. I'm drinking pretty much for free. I'm having a good time. And out on the main stage, here comes a girl I went to high school with,
Of course.
She was a theater major. Shit didn't work out for her,
or it did.
Yeah.
That's about the best you
She's
could
performing.
about the best you could hope out of a Kilgore High School.
It was this is A-Leaf. But yeah, same.
Same.
Same
spell, different side of the river.
But the
That's
funniest,
not a successful theater career.
the funniest part is I'm sitting there by Vinny and his little crew of guys, right? And she comes out dancing on the stage, and she's into her shit and everything, and she's about half naked. And she looks down and sees me in the front row, recognizes me, and goes, "Oh my God, you can't see me naked!" And just like she did in high school. And then, and like bolts off stage, and Vinny's like, "What'd you do to my dancer, man?" I was like, "I went to high school with her. I hadn't seen her in a minute. She was my best friend's little sister,
So, okay, the Colorado on 59. I went, and my best friend when I was in middle school, his little sister was a dancer there.
That's awkward.
I hadn't seen the girl since she was 11, and they use stage names and shit. I don't realize it's her. Like you had a body like this the last time I saw you, right?
Oh, no.
And this girl comes out. God bless her. She's hot. I don't care. I'm fucking drunk as fuck.
That's shocking.
The girl comes off. The girl comes off. She walks out of the back. Whatever. She comes back out, and she comes straight to me. And I was like, "Oh shit, this hot chick actually coming to talk to me." Well, and she just comes back up, and she sits right on my lap, and she was like, "Oh my God, it is so nice to see you." And I'm so lit that I'm like, "Motherfucker, I look hot tonight." And blah, blah, blah.
Did
And
I
she
do this?
It's nice to see you too.
And she
All
just
of you.
goes, "My name is blah, blah, blah." And she says her first name. And I go, "That ain't the name they said." She goes, No, that's my real name. I'm blah, blah, blah's little sister. I was like, "Bitch, get off me!"
When they tell you the real name, that's the secret there. You don't want that's like finding out an elf's real name or something.
But it was like,
I
dude,
married one, never learned her real name.
not necessary.
We said cinnamon in our vows.
But this was like my middle school homeboy, man. Do you take cinnamon? No, nutmeg. Oh my God, the best stripper name ever, Nutmeg.
Yeah.
Well, they just call her Meg if you know.
Her daddy calls her Megan.
When she comes out of that VIP room, though, her name is Nutmeg. Don't kiss her on the mouth.
Spicy.
I think we kind of got to put a pin in this one. I don't know if we're at the end of anything, but let's call it. We have another episode to go. 971 is in the can. 3 of your 4 Whiskey Brothers. We wish Trey Tutson the best of luck. By the time we get to Friday's episode, we will not have a verdict.
Trey, just win.
Take no prisoners, son.
He's been trained well, and he's as prepared as you could be. And if he loses, it will simply be because comedy contests are comedy contests.
And we will never let him forget it.
Not a single bit. We do raise a glass to the young buck in a contest. He's already made it further than Sam.
If he wins it all, I'm just gonna have to eat this fucking microphone.
Further than probably any Houston comic has, and we'll talk about it when he gets
I made
back.
the furthest out of all of us.
But cheers to all of that. Cheers to you guys watching us. Our YouTube channel, go do a couple of things. Follow our YouTube channel if you're not already. It's the Whiskey Brothers. And follow Jerry Wayne's because his special comes out on Saturday. That's the 27th.
27th. And I just dropped a bunch of new content today.
It's called The Wrecking Yard. It is spectacular, and I stand behind it emphatically. Thanks to Adam Taylor working the 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. We going to get steaks after this, Adam? We probably should. One more episode to go. You guys stick around on the Twitch. We'll see the rest of you soon.
They don't want no problems. Nah.
Music provided by Scarface. Thank you for listening to yet another excellent episode of the Whiskey Brothers Podcast, the world's funniest podcast ever. The Whiskey Brothers Podcast was made in America by Americans, mostly in and around the Houston area. All content copyright the Whiskey Brothers. This concludes our broadcast day. Goodbye.